Hi guys, the other day I made this gorgeous gnocchi with tomato and mushroom. The tomato mushroom sauce was really straightforward and very easy, and the gnocchi itself took a little bit of time, but it was really straightforward as well, and it's really freezer compatible, so you can make it in big batches and freeze a lot of them. So start off with 450 grams of potato and just roast them, skin on, no oil, no salt, nothing, for about 50 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. Then take them out and allow them to cool slightly just until you can handle them. Then take a large mixing bowl with 160 grams of plain flour in it and add a good pinch of sea salt flakes. Now peel those potatoes and pass them through a potato ricer and add them to the flour. If you don't have a potato ricer, then just mash them up really well into the flour. Now for a little bit of extra seasoning, finely grate about 30 grams of parmesan into the bowl as well. Then give all that a good mix with a fork before you take one egg and beat it up slightly before you add that as well. Mix that in with the fork again before you bring it all together with your hands, and you're left with a big lump of really soft, luscious dough. Turn the dough out onto a chopping board and chop it into 4 roughly equal pieces. Then lightly flour your work surface and take each piece and roll it out into a long snake shape that's about a centimetre thick. Then cut into 2 centimetre lengths and gather up all the gnocchi and store them on a plate that's been floured, and continue on with the rest of the pieces. By the way, this full recipe is available over on my blog, rookiecook.org, and is based on an Italian chef's recipe for something that was really difficult. I tried myself and it was a disaster, so this is a real simplified version of it. But you can read more about that original recipe over on my site. So once all the gnocchi are cut and floured, it's time to get on with the sauce. Here I have a heavy base frying pan, and to the side I've got a big pot of salted water that I'll bring to the boil. Start off by melting about 50 grams of butter and about 2 tablespoons of olive oil over a medium-high heat. While that's happening, go ahead and chop up 1 medium-sized onion, as fine as you can, but no big deal, it doesn't have to be all that fine. And go ahead and add it to the foaming butter and olive oil. Let that sweat for just a couple of minutes over a medium heat while you finally chop up 3 cloves of garlic, as fine as you can here, but there's no pressure either. And then you add the leaves of 2 sprigs of oregano to it, and then add all that to the pan as well with your onions. Give it a quick stir before you go on to your mushrooms. I used 3 large portobello mushrooms and chopped them up quite chunky before I added them to the pan with the onions and garlic. Then you give them a quick stir and add about a half a teaspoon of chili flakes, mix them in as well, and then clamp the lid on and leave them for about 10 minutes over a medium-low heat. Then take off the lid, give everything a quick stir before you add about 5 sun-dried tomatoes chopped up pretty finely, followed by about 3 tablespoons of tomato puree that's been dissolved in 150 milliliters of boiling water. Mix that all up and then clamp the lid on again for about another 5 or 6 minutes. By now your salted water should be boiling, which will give you just enough time to cook your gnocchi. So go ahead and dump all of them in and leave them in there for probably about 4 minutes. This would took me, but just leave them in there until all the gnocchi rise to the surface. Then just siphon off a good generous mugful of that starchy cooking water. This will be really helpful for loosening the sauce later. Now take the gnocchi off the heat to pass them through a colander before you go back to your sauce. Give everything a good stir up before you add in your gnocchi and mix it all in so that it's all nice and incorporated and the sauce nicely coats the gnocchi. Here I thought the sauce was looking a little dry, so I did add a little bit of that gnocchi cooking water and mixed all that up. Then I checked for seasoning and adjusted. Then I gave it one last mix up before I plated up. I gave each bowl a good generous sprinkling of finely grated parmesan, a sprinkling of fresh chopped basil, and a little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil here for some richness. Then just tuck in and enjoy. I know you might be thinking that making your own gnocchi at home from scratch might be a lot of effort, but it's actually not. It's very straightforward and it's so much nicer than the gnocchi you buy in the supermarket in the packet. That stuff can be really tough and horrible, whereas these are more like little tiny clouds. Thanks a million for watching, guys. I really hope you liked this recipe and give it a go yourselves at home. If you did, hit the like button below and hit the subscribe button to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And let me know how you get on if you try this on social media. You'll find all the links to my accounts in the description below. And you'll also find the link to my blog where you'll find the full recipe at www.rookiecook.org.